If you're taking 5 or 6 supplements every day, but you still feel tired, you're not recovering well, or your performance has plateaued, the problem probably isn't that you need another supplement. It's that you're taking supplements for the wrong reasons. So today I'm going to show you the 3-layer system I use to decide exactly what an athlete should and should not be taking. Here's the pattern I see constantly in athletes who come to me frustrated with their supplement regimen. They're taking a reasonable number of products, they've done some good research, and they're not just grabbing random things off of the shelf. But nothing is moving the needle for them, and their instinct is that they probably need to add something else in. And that instinct is almost always wrong. The problem is rarely that they need more supplements. The problem is that the supplements they're taking aren't matched to what's actually limiting them. They've built a stack based on general recommendations, marketing hype, or what worked for somebody else, not based on a clear understanding of which physiological systems are the actual bottleneck in their specific situation. Now, that's the distinction this video is about, not what to take, but why to take it, and how to build that decision systematically rather than randomly. Hey, I'm Dr. Jason Barker. I'm a naturopathic doctor, 2-time Ironman finisher, lifelong endurance athlete, and 20 plus years working with endurance athletes. So here's the 3-layer system. Layer 1 is the foundation. So before anything targeted or personalized, there are physiological systems that endurance training taxes consistently across every sport, every age group, and every training load. The systems where the gap between what training demands and what a typical diet provides is large enough that supplementation is genuinely warranted for pretty much all athletes. First one is creatine, 3 to 5 grams daily. It supports ATP regeneration at the high demand moments within endurance training. So think every surge, every hill, every interval, and every sprint finish. Each of those relies on the phosphocreatine system. Saturating creatine stores makes that system more reliable. This isn't only a strength sport supplement, it's also an energy system supplement. Next up are omega-3 fatty acids, 2 to 4 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily from a quality source. These are going to support the resolution of post-training inflammation. Recovery between sessions depends on inflammation completing and turning off. So omega-3s support that process without blunting the adaptive signal from training. Next one is magnesium at 200 to 400 milligrams daily in glycinate or malate form. It's going to support nervous system regulation, sleep architecture, muscle relaxation, and hundreds of enzymatic reactions that are tied to energy production. Magnesium is lost significantly through sweat, and it's one of the most consistently suboptimal nutrients in endurance athletes and one of the most impactful to correct. Next is collagen with vitamin C, 10 to 15 grams of collagen peptides with 50 to 100 milligrams of vitamin C taken 30 to 60 minutes before training. This is going to support connective tissue repair. Your tendons, ligaments, and fascia are all under repetitive loads in endurance sport, and they have a limited blood supply available for repair. So timing this before training primes the repair process before you create the mechanical stimulus. Next is vitamin D, 2,000 to 5,000 units of D3 daily with a fat-containing meal. It's going to support muscle function, immune regulation, hormonal production, and bone integrity. The performance target is 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter, not the standard reference floor of 20 on your blood work. Test your baseline levels before supplementing and then retest at 8 to 12 weeks later. Now here's the important point about this particular layer. If you're currently taking supplements but not consistently covering these 5 basics, you may be spending money on targeted support for systems that aren't actually the limiting factor, while the systems that are universally relevant to endurance performance remain unsupported. So the foundation has to come first here. Okay, layer 2 is targeted support. So once that foundation is in place, the question shifts. And it's not what supplements should I take, but what system is actually limiting me right now. And this is where most supplement decisions start to go wrong. Athletes add products based on what they've heard works, without first identifying whether that system is actually their particular bottleneck. So the result is a stack full of things that might be helpful in theory, but they're not addressing the actual problem for that person. So now I work through 5 limiting categories clinically first. First one is energy and fatigue. If persistent fatigue and declining performance are the issue, despite solid fueling and foundational coverage, the bottleneck may be more mitochondrial. CoQ10 at 100 to 300 milligrams daily supports your electron transport chain efficiency. L-carnitine at up to 1 gram per pound of body weight supports fatty acid transport into the mitochondria. These are the powerhouses of your body, essentially. These are specific interventions for specific bottleneck, not general energy supplements. Next is inflammation and recovery. So, if soreness lingers longer than it should and recovery between sessions is inconsistent, the inflammation resolution system may need more support. So curcumin at 500 to 1,000 milligrams of a high bioavailability formulation with piperine or a phospholipid complex will modulate the upstream inflammatory signaling cascade. Now, when you combine this with omega-3s from that original foundation, you're now addressing inflammation through two complementary mechanisms. Next is stress and nervous system dysregulation. If you're wired but tired, fatigued but unable to wind down, poor sleep despite adequate hours, and training that feels harder than your load should produce, the HPA axis needs specific support. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So ashwagandha at 300 to 600 milligrams of a standardized extract supports cortisol regulation and sleep quality. Rhodiola at 400 to 600 milligrams in the morning supports stress resilience and mitochondrial efficiency under physiological stress. Okay, next one is immune function. So if you're getting sick frequently or taking longer to recover from illnesses, zinc at 15 to 30 milligrams daily will support immune function and testosterone synthesis. Glutamine at 5 to 10 grams daily supports gut barrier integrity, which, as we covered in the REDS or Relative Energy Deficiency in Sport series, will directly affect that immune regulation. Next is connective tissue and injury risk. If recurring soft tissue issues or stress injuries are the primary concern for you, boswellia at 300 to 500 milligrams of a standardized extract addresses the leukotriene inflammatory pathway specific to the joint and tendon inflammation. Tart cherry extract reduces muscle damage markers and soreness and provides a natural melatonin that supports sleep quality. Now, you want to identify the limiting factor, then build a targeted layer around that, not around what sounds good. Okay, layer 3 is lab-guided precision. So here's where I need to be clear about the limitation of everything in layers 1 and 2, including the targeted recommendations I just mentioned. So your symptoms can point you in the right direction, but they can't tell you with confidence which specific physiological gap is actually driving them. And that gap between what symptoms suggest and what the physiology actually shows is where supplement decisions most consistently go wrong. So let's say we've got an athlete with persistent fatigue and they add CoQ10 in for mitochondrial support. That's logical based on their symptoms. But after lab testing shows a ferritin at 22, it's iron deficiency which is limiting their aerobic system. So CoQ10 doesn't address that. The symptom pointed toward the right category, but the wrong specific intervention was chosen because the data just wasn't there. So we'll also have an athlete who adds ashwagandha for supposedly elevated cortisol. But the multi-point cortisol test shows a flattened pattern, not elevated cortisol. So the HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, is exhausted rather than overactivated. So those two patterns will feel identical from the outside. The intervention required is fundamentally different here. So lab testing identifies nutrient deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, oxidative stress markers, and gut dysfunction that symptoms alone can't reliably distinguish. And when you know what's actually off, every supplement decision becomes a targeted intervention rather than an educated guess. This is the layer that moves a supplement protocol from thoughtful to truly individualized. And it's what the next video in this series covers specifically. What to test, how to interpret through a performance lens, and how to use what you find to fill in the gaps that layers 1 and 2 can't reach. So let's bring it all together here. If you're taking supplements that aren't working, the answer isn't more supplements, it's better targeting. So you've got to build that foundation first. Those 5 supplements that cover what endurance training universally demands. Then identify your specific limiting factor or factors and build a targeted layer around that, not around what someone else is taking. And when your symptoms alone aren't giving you a clear enough answer, use lab testing to move from hypothesis to that confirmation that you need. That's the system. Foundation, then targeted, then precision. And it's the difference between a supplement protocol that costs you money and one that actually changes your performance. So please hit like and subscribe. I post science-backed content for athletes at every stage and level. And for individualized testing and a supplement protocol built specifically around your physiology, visit naturalathleteclinic.com. I'm Dr. Jason Barker. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.